Welcome to the daily financial updates. Again, this is something we've been doing now over 100 days, talking about what's going on in the news. And if you are watching this, thank you. And if you've been watching a couple of these, make sure you hit subscribe so you see when these live sessions post. A couple of things up and at it early this morning. Got a long drive to Fresno. Going to go look at 6 or 7 different projects that we have going on. A couple that are close to being complete, couple that are just starting, and I think 1 or 2 that we are looking at buying. So going to be a fun and exciting day. Um, you know, assuming the weather holds up, but we will get on the road shortly. So a couple of things. First and foremost, we expected it. We talked about it, and it happened. China, quote unquote, hit back based on the law that we signed about Hong Kong about a week or so ago. We knew it was coming. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know how bad it would be, if it would be more theater than anything. And it looks like, thankfully, it's more theater and posturing and things that, they can sort of communicate to their populace that, yes, they, this tit for tat, eye for eye, whatever you want to call it, they reciprocated. What they did is they basically disallowed U.S. ships and aircraft to have permission to visit Hong Kong. Right, Hong Kong is obviously since it was transferred from Britain. I think it was in '97. I think maybe '99. I think it was '97. They have allowed U.S. military ships and aircraft to dock or be positioned there, but they're going to stop that at least in the short term. So, okay, great. So you've done your thing. We've done our thing. Now let's get back to the negotiating table and really take care of this trade war. It is clear that December 15th is literally 2 weeks away, a little bit less than 2 weeks away. Today's the 2nd. And that's going to prove to be a compelling event. I think leaving the tariffs on the table creates a energy and excitement from both parties to get something done. It is clear that China would prefer not to have an additional 15% tariff placed on $160 billion of Chinese goods. Right, that's good. So keeping the tariffs in the date out there is a very strong, ingenious move because it forces behavior. There's a lot of talk about China is having a policy meeting in the next week or so. At these policy meetings, internal to China is where they set their economic agenda for the coming year. And it is, thought, again, posturing from people that not in the know, but just looking at the chessboard, that this could be good and a reason to get these at least a phase 1 tariff, phase 1 trade war agreement done. It is clear that we want to export more and have China buy more, other than just food. And it's clear that they want the tariffs to go away because, again, it's kind of hurting their manufacturing side, and then it's hurting their populace because food's becoming so expensive. It's kind of a double whammy. So again, keeping the pressure on, keeping the December 15th date is good. Again, we get this thing behind us, and 2020 should be a fun year to watch. It'll probably get interesting around the election, but that's, we're a pretty divided nation today, so it'll be interesting to see what happens then. But again, as far as a economy goes, the consumer is fine. We have more proof of that. We talked about Frozen 2 on this channel being another potential billion-dollar film for Disney. I think we talked about it right before Thanksgiving. And sure enough, it had a record 4-day weekend or 4-day haul. I think it was 125. It might have been 135 billion. I'm going from memory. Read a lot of articles. So it's just another sign that the consumer is fine. Kids are, parents are taking their kids there. They're likely, going and buying the toys and all of that. So again, Frozen 2 record, another indication that the consumer is fine. Next up, it's interesting. I actually saw a negative article or a negative position from 2 different Wall Street firms for the first time. Both Morgan Stanley and UBS came out and said that next year the stock market may disappoint. They're actually calling the S&P 3000, which would mean about a drop of 4.5% as of the reading when I read that this morning. So I actually see this as a good sign. I think I always get nervous when everybody's on the upside or everybody's on the downside. It's just like, it's a crowded trade. So to have someone out there looking at that is interesting. They basically pointed to the ripples of the trade war being a lot longer than most people anticipate, which is interesting, especially when you see what just came out literally at 7 Eastern, 7 a.m. Eastern. Manufacturing data disappointed. Right now, it's just a headline number. I will get more, but didn't want to delay this because I had to get on the road. Looks like manufacturing data came in weak. I'm wondering if this is leftovers from that strike in the central U.S. We talked about it a month ago that I expected some of the data to be dirty heading into the end of the year. I'm curious if this is one of those numbers because, again, it wasn't only GM and UAW that was on strike, but as the strike went longer, more and more parts manufacturers got impacted. And then there's first derivative and second derivative and potentially third derivative impact. So it will be interesting to see what happens. We talked about over the weekend that Black Friday was a record. I don't remember. I think it was up 4.5% or something. But most of that, if not all, actually all of that was online and mobile growth. Physical stores came out today. And as far as I'm concerned, disappointing. They were down 6%. So we are going to malls and spending at malls and shopping centers and physical brick and mortars a lot less. Again, it makes sense. We are getting, time is a thing for us, right? Going to the mall, find parking, going to the shop, leaving the shop, doing all those things takes time. It only takes, 3 minutes to buy something on a phone or search and buy something. So it makes sense that we are paying for convenience. And now with, 1 day, 2 day shipping, it is pretty powerful. So that is interesting. Next up, we have Brazil and Argentina getting a little bit of focus from the executive branch. Looks like they are raging about the devaluation of currencies, basically allowing them to export cheap aluminum and steel. And of course, this is causing our executive branch to scream for 0% interest and don't let the strong dollar become a problem and all of those other things. So again, the strong dollar, the fact that we're still above 1% or 1.5%, we are in a strong position in the world economy at the moment, and that strong dollar is absolutely hurting manufacturing. So it would be interesting to see how this ripples through. We're still sitting with unemployment at 3.5%. We still have cheap money. We still have companies buying other companies, and I think 2020 is going to roll on as a good year. The question will be, will 2020 just be a good year, or it will be that expansion of the balloon that really starts to stress, and is it going to pop or just have a slow leak? So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. Again, I'm glad that China struck back so they can say they did it. Okay, our ships can't go there. I'm sure they'll just go to Japan or Korea or some other place. No big deal. So I think the fact that they hit back like that is a good thing because it's headline reading, so they can get by it. And I'm sure at worst, it's an inconvenience for some of our military and sailors and the like. So I think that's all good. Again, nothing. I think it's going to be interesting into the end of the year. And again, I don't see a recession in 2020 as we sit here today. All right, everybody, have a great day. I got to get on the road. Bye.